Hey there, welcome to episode 68 of Minipod with me, Dave Jacobs. Now, if you've been following me for any time, you realize that I'm probably one of the biggest cheerleaders of small churches. I've dedicated the last 15 years of my life to encourage and resource pastors of small churches. And I want you to hear me when I say, with very few exceptions, big churches have no real advantage over small churches. I just simply mean by this that small churches can do everything larger churches do if they're willing to do it on a smaller scale. You see, our fascination with numbers and size has nothing really to do with the Bible and everything to do with our Western culture. Have you heard of Christian Schwartz? He's the guy that developed natural church development, and he popularized many years ago this concept that we've got to focus on health instead of numbers. He surveyed 1,000 churches and he discovered 8 common areas that indicated health or the lack thereof. And he developed a tool that churches could use to discover how well they scored on these areas so that they might focus on their weakest areas. The only thing I really don't like about NCD is the assumption that healthy churches will grow. This is often the case, but it's not always the case, and I don't have time today to go more into that. But these are the 8 areas that Schwartz discovered. He discovered leadership that empowered laity, serving according to giftedness, a passionate spirituality and enthusiasm, small groups, evangelism done by those with the gift of evangelism, loving relationships, structures in place that worked, and inspiring worship services. He said these were the 8 common areas that indicated health in a church. Now, Schwartz discovered that small churches outscored larger churches in all but one of these areas, and that area was inspiring worship services. Schwartz said, there is a diminishing quality with increasing church size. Now, having said all this, let me suggest one big problem of small churches. Small churches are more fragile than larger churches. By this I mean that it's easier to kill a smaller church than it is a larger church. And by this I don't mean that necessarily to kill a church that it's going to necessarily close its doors. A person can be dead but placed on life support for some time. Only a miracle will bring that person back to life. And a miracle, or really maybe some new medical discovery. Some churches are on life support. Only a miracle or some discovery is going to bring them back. It's really, really hard to turn a church around once they reach this place. It can happen, but not very often. And all of this explains why gossip and slander, pastoral failure, 1 or 2 key families leaving, or a sudden drop in giving, can be more devastating in a small church than it might be in a larger church. Larger churches can rebound easier than smaller churches. Because of this, the pastor of small churches, they have to work harder at growing a healthy church than the pastor of a larger church. In a small church, church health often is the key to church survival. Focus on growing a healthy church and leave the numbers to God. Hey, thanks for dropping in at this time. Leave a comment below, hit the like button, subscribe, and tell your friends about Minipod with me, Dave Jacobs. No fluff, just good stuff in under 5 minutes. Talk to you next time.